Ahoy there, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn. I'm Luke, he, him, and sometimes they, them, and I'm joined, as always, by my co host.
Hi, I'm Janine, and I use she, they pronouns.
And welcome back to the 15th episode of DohMance Dawn, where because we are starting a new arc, we have a special guest joining us for the start of this adventure. Rodrigo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Rodrigo Vargas. I'm a comic book artist and writer from Chile. Right? Yeah. And I go by, I use he, him, they, them, if you want to say she, her, so to speak. I'm good.
Gender is what it is, and
Yeah.
what it is to everyone is its own thing. So Rodrigo, would we have guests on? I'd like to ask a sort of icebreaker question, and I know that you are coming up next weekend for CXC, which is Comics Crossroads Columbus in Columbus, Ohio, where I am, and you were like, "Hey, should I bring candy or alcohol?" So if you're going to meet the Straw Hat Pirates, which would you bring?
Um, I feel like there's this guy, I don't remember the name, but the blonde guy that does the cooking.
Sanji.
Yeah. I think he will enjoy probably the booze.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also feel like Luffy would really enjoy the candy. Like he would probably go crazy over it.
Oh, yeah.
And one seems to be more powerful and in control than the other. So I will bring just candy.
Fair enough.
Also, I don't drink, so that way I can enjoy some of it too.
More power to you. Uh, so this week we're going to be covering episodes 92 through 97 of One Piece. But first, I had some mints from the last episode. One of them is I did misrepresent TV's Doogie Howser. I did go back in the notes and look up, and he is credited as Neil Patrick Harris, TV's Doogie Howser, not just TV's Doogie Howser. So I needed to mea culpa for that. Which I feel like Neil Patrick Harris, TV's Doogie Howser doesn't roll off the tongue as well as just TV's Doogie Howser.
Yeah, it's kind of long, right?
Mm-hmm. Uh, and also as another mistake that I made, Carl and Lenny were crushed by a helicopter in that Treehouse of Horror, not an airplane. So once again, I made a mistake. You have no rejoinders, Janine?
I really don't, because I'm perfect all the time.
You got that on me. So, so Rodrigo, this was the first One Piece that you've seen, correct?
Yes.
And what is your background with The Simpsons?
Oh, I've seen a lot of Simpsons. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
All right. Well, I am excited to get into things. So in Japan, these episodes initially ran from December 9th through January 20th of 2001 to 2002. And the new episodes that came out at this time were She of Little Faith, where Lisa becomes a Buddhist, Brawl in the Family, where the Vegas wives return after the family is ordered to go through court ordered therapy, and Sweet and Sour Marge, where Marge tries to ban sugar in Springfield. And I there's a these were all just kind of mostly forgettable episodes, I think.
I feel like my brain has kept me from remembering some of them to protect me, to be honest.
This is kind of that point.
Yeah, that's on point. I didn't remember the sweet and sour March episode with so much fat phobia, and I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah, there's like Abby and I have done a few rewatches, and there's a few of them where the fat phobia is just really hard, and so it's just like, we'll skip the episode. It's like not everything is going to age gracefully.
Yeah, it didn't. And
Mhm.
the previous one is also like they tricked the Vegas wife to marry Homer's,
Grandpa,
yeah, Homer's dad, and they have sex.
that's
There's
great.
there's some. Can I curse?
Yeah.
No, there's some fucked up shit in there.
Yeah, and like even she of little faith, it's like Richard Gere is a Buddhist, but it's just not necessarily appropriation, but I don't think it's handled as well as it
Yeah.
could have been. But we do have access to some new characters from these episodes, like Richard Gere, Paul Reiser, Strom Thurmond, and Diabetti, amongst others.
Yeah.
But
I was very happy with Paul Reiser
mhm,
because when I was a teenager, we used to get Mad About You on cable here, and I
mhm.
loved that show. Like I watched it so much, and I was like, I don't remember Paul Reiser in The Simpsons. And then I watched the episode, and it's just a photo of him on a book.
A lot of the time, like that's enough for me to count it. Like if you at least see a picture that we could give to the artist, that works for me.
Yeah.
But we are here to discuss the One Piece episodes, 92 through 97. Titles of these episodes are The Hero of Alabasta and The Ballerina on Deck.
Coming to the Desert Kingdom, the Rain Calling Powder, and the Rebel Army.
Reunion of the powerful. His name is Fire Fist Ace.
Ace and Luffy, Warm Memories and Brotherly Bonds.
The Green City, Erumalu, and the Kung Fu Dugongs.
Adventure in the country of sand. The demons that live in the scorching earth.
And Here Come the Desert Pirates, The Men Who Live Free. Oh no, I forgot that I apparently had that on this list. I will just cut off that last part because I didn't include the characters from that one on here. That is.
Oh, cool.
Oh, and here I was thinking that they were going to get some future characterization that, like, you wanted to hold off on naming them on. No, it's just, it's a domint for next time.
It is. It is. Yeah, because that would technically bring us to 98. So I apparently had a disconnection there between my multiple spreadsheets. That's a on me. So yeah, we get a brief moment where we actually like see Crocodile's power when he ends up stopping a rampaging group of pirates by mummifying them in Alabasta before the Royal Guard appears, which uh Janine, you've had a longer build up for Crocodile. What do you think about his powers?
That's fucking terrifying, dog. He
Yeah.
sucks the juice right out of you.
Rodrigo, how are you feeling about Crocodile?
Like I see this guy, he looks really mean, but then everybody loves him. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, who is this guy and why does everybody loves him? He looks like a really bad guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's all I can say about him. He looks like a meanie, a big meanie.
So the government has seven warlords who are pirates that they essentially allow to do whatever they want, but in exchange they will hunt down other pirates, and so
So
that's what Crocodile is.
So this is like in the real world where the governments are terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know.
Hmm. Well, and it was also something that happened in a lot of like real world pirate times,
Yeah,
where you had like your corsairs and
like
such.
the Brits.
Hmm. So we check in with the Straw Hats who are trying to fish for food. They end up going into a hot spot and they catch Mr. Two with Karu while Saji is busy looking for food. Mr. Two comes on board and he gets to show off the power of his clone fruit, which allows him to turn into anybody he has touched, which includes now everybody on the crew except for Vivi and Sanji. And he shows off random faces from the past, one of which includes Vivi's father, Nefertari Cobra. And when his ship arrives, they all realize that he is Mr. Two, but he has no idea who any of them are. And because he's just like, oh, hey, you guys are awesome. We're friends now. I will see you all in the future. Because he has to go and look for Mr. Three to go and murder him. And Zoro horrifyingly comes up with a plan to counteract Mr. Two's abilities because they all wrap a bandage on their arms. Uh, Janine, how do you feel about Mr. Two? Because he's another character who we've seen build up for a while.
Um, I feel like the presentation of this character may not have been done with the best intentions, but I do feel like that where that character is now is at a level where it kind of comes back around again in camp.
That is part of it. So I wanted to make sure that I did like do research because Mr. Two is an okama, which is a Japanese term that is essentially like a catch-all term for queerness. Is kind of what we'd go nowadays because if y'all are familiar with like British theater, where it's like, oh, well, we don't want to have women in our old timey theater crew, so we're just going to have young boys dress up like women for the plays.
Yeah.
So Japan's government became even more restrictive at the time, and we're like, okay, well, we don't want women to do this because they're going to go off and be prostitutes, which is something we're not good with. We also really can't trust young men to do this because chances are they're also going to go off and become prostitutes. And so they essentially created an entire class of men whose jobs were, oh, we're going to basically professionally be women. And so eventually, like, it became both this like highly respected role, but then there was people who like engaged in this sort of gender play, for lack of a better term, as opposed to, I'd say, full on gender fluidity or like transgenderism uh, as like it was a job for them, but then it sort of became something where people began to use this to express themselves. And so it's kind of like a early level of Japanese drag, but in a way where, because it was so ingrained in the culture over like hundreds of years, you would have performers who would go on and like, oh yeah, no, this is the person who's just always in drag essentially on like this primetime Japanese TV show. And so it's definitely something that can be read very much as kind of highly queer phobic without like additional knowledge. But also, like, one of the things that I appreciate is Mr. Two Bon Clay does exist as like a fully realized character. And like the gender fluidity that they have as a result of their powers is also something that they appreciate as a person.
Huh. That's a good way to see it because I didn't know that, and I was like, this guy, this writer guy doesn't seem that great to me right now. I do have a question though.
Mhm.
Is there a Mr. One?
There is. We have not seen Mr. One yet.
Oh, okay. Has he been mentioned or something like that? Like everyone's like Mr. Two, Mr. Two, and I'm like, okay, but did we beat already number one?
Actually, now that I think about it, I think they've only mentioned him once, and when they did, they were just saying how like they've never seen him.
Yep, we are getting closer to seeing more of Baroque works because we've seen, I believe, Mr. 8 and Mr. 9 and like Mr. 7, but it's like the higher number agents are going to be coming up soon, and it's going to be a wild time.
So there are at least 9 Misters.
There are, I believe, uh, 13 of them, but Mr. 13 is a otter,
Oh, that's cute.
a murderous otter.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
It still was. I mean, it had like little like knife shell things that looked kind of
Oh,
badass, but it still looked adorable.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want in a murder animal. Like, just make it cute, and we'll make sure that we're dead the right way.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Mr. Two is kind of as explicitly clear as a queer character as you could have in a mainstream, like, kids, teens targeting anime in like the early 2000s, to the point where he was even more censored than he was in the manga, where the back of his coat said "Oh come my way" in Japanese, which goes as a pun of "Okama way," which is basically saying, "Yeah, I'm very queer,"
Oh,
Amazing.
which which is much better than like the initial Four Kids dub in the United States, where it's just like, "Oh, they censored all of that out. You can't be reading Japanese on this anime show."
so what we saw now was like people being like, "We're gonna keep this guy under control," and you're telling me like in the comics, it's like way more queer.
Uh not as there's some more overt hints,
Oh,
I would
okay.
say. Yeah.
It's layered.
Is
It
because there
is.
might be like a Mister Two.
Well, Mr. Two Bon Clay is like his own partner for various reasons. Like one of
Oh,
them is he identifies both as male and female, uh, or depending on the translation, just doesn't like working with women. It's That's where like translations and personal politics and a bunch of other stuff get involved.
yeah.
Anyway, so as they are getting closer to Alabasta, a sea cat appears, and they also notice like a bunch of Baroque ships working for them that belong to the Billions. And they end up docking in Nanohana to stock up on supplies because they're going to need to cross the desert to reach Yuba, where Vivi is planning to meet the rebels to try and stop their attack on the capital. And Luffy arriving in town just immediately runs out while the rest of the crew is trying to stay low because everyone in Baroque Works knows them except for Sanji and Chopper, who have to go out shopping for supplies because nobody in Baroque Works knows them yet. Sanji gets distracted immediately by women, and Chopper gets overwhelmed by the heat and the smells of the market, wanders off into a cool looking vehicle, and gets captured by the rebels on accident before a camel whose name is Matsugi, or that translates as eyelash, comes and saves him. I'll just go with eyelash because that's the American dub name, but
Yeah.
it means the same thing. Luffy, meanwhile, stumbles onto a mysterious house in the desert where he finds a bunch of powder that he tries to eat, and because it tastes bad, he burns it, so it causes it to rain. And we get the owner trying to explain what dance powder is to Luffy, who doesn't really pay attention to it at all, and then heads back to town to look for food. A weird thing is, they added this scene into the anime. Like, otherwise, you just get the explanation later. And it's just like, considering that Luffy, like, doesn't even pay attention and it all goes over his head, it's a weird choice to make.
And it's not a
Well,
lot of information either.
Mm-hmm.
will they bring the guy back?
Nope.
So he just shows up. He teaches us about the dust and the rain, and he's just gone.
It's filler.
Oh, okay. Because they mentioned the dust later in
Yeah, and like that's where they normally explained it in like the comic, but for whatever reason they just added in an extra scene going over it, maybe to like give a second chance. Uh, so Luffy promises to keep it secret and then heads back to look for food. Ace, meanwhile, is looking for Luffy. He gets directed to a restaurant. Some of the crew overhears Ace looking for Luffy, and that's when Zoro recognizes him as a member of Whitebeard's crew, but he gets distracted by Kuina appearing. And this is also another scene where it's good that they kind of censored things in the anime because there's a lot of symbols that have different meanings around the world. And one of those is the swastika,
Oh,
Ah.
which has a different meaning in Buddhist tradition than it does. And I think between the anime coming out and or between the manga release and the anime release, they're kind of like, yeah, no, we kind of get that you want to do like this holy religious reference, but people are going to think it's a Nazi symbol, and you can't really do merchandise with that in many parts of the world. And so that's why it is instead just a cross with the mustached skull on Ace's back instead.
oh,
Fun facts.
that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I pick that book, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, this wasn't like in the show. I really just watched the show then.
Yeah, they at least in the American releases they try and put in notes explaining some of the things before,
Yeah,
as opposed to like doing outright censorship of it,
yeah, I
which
get
I
it.
think, yeah,
I do
it's
I
one
do
of.
wonder what Lisa Simpson, the Buddhist, thinks about the swastika as a Buddhist symbol.
I feel like she would put up a giant argument about why it can be used in certain uh, settings, but also why it shouldn't necessarily be used in settings where it is not known as that.
Yeah.
Like there's a episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker, which was a old kind of monster of the week show starring Darren McGavin. And there's an episode where like this neighborhood is getting terrorized by someone graffitiing swastikas all over, and it turns out to be a old Indian man who is specifically using it to ward off evil in the form of a Rakshasha, uh, Indian demon. And it's like, oh, that's kind of like an interesting way to lead into this monster of the week thing, but also a weird choice in a lot of other ways. And I got to mention Kolchak the Night Stalker. So Ace, meanwhile, fell asleep while eating, and that caused a commotion which drew Smoker to look for him. Ace admits to Smoker that he is looking for Luffy, his brother, who then coincidentally crashes into both of them, and immediately he starts eating. Ace and Smoker return. Luffy doesn't immediately recognize Smoker, but runs away when he does, and the Marines chase after him. He leads the Marines back to his crew on accident, but luckily Ace steps in using his flame fruit powers and allows the Straw Hats to escape. While Ace and Smoker are fighting, Luffy gets distracted watching them in the distance, loses the rest of his crew, who got back to the ship and are preparing to sail before they realize that he is gone. Luffy!
Yeah, he gets lost a lot.
It is one of the traits. Like, if you're working with idiots, it's very easy to like write reasons to separate people.
In the middle
Uh,
of the desert, just walking the fuck off.
mhm. I mean, I feel like we all know that like one kid who, if you don't keep a close eye on him, maybe they grow out of it at some point, but they will just wander out into the desert.
Look, I was that kid, but I never got that lost.
There. Meanwhile, the previously captured Mr. Eleven is killed by other members of the Billions looking for promotion. R.I.P. Mr. 11, one of the only two characters who shares my birthday. Oh yeah, a bunch, like almost all of the named One Piece characters have a official birthday. Rodrigo.
Oh, that's cool. What's
Mm-hmm.
yours?
Mine is November 21st. I share it with Mr. 11 and a woman who has a minor part in a chapter that we have already gone past.
Oh, okay. Well, you get your own birthday now. You're independent. Way to go.
Yeah, you don't have to share with anybody if they're dead or, not important to receive more than like half a Wikipedia page.
Exactly. You can look back and be
By the
like,
way, do you happen to know who else might have been born on November 28th?
Oh,
It's a
you
like
new
talking?
horoscope.
Is that you? Is that who I think it is? Okay. Nope. Okay, that would have been very on the nose. Your birthday, your only current birthday character, Janine, won't show up for a while. Rodrigo, when is your birthday?
Oh,
oh, my birthday is in October 8th.
that's coming up
October 8th.
soon.
You know
Yeah,
which
that's
character
next
you
week.
yeah. You know whose character which character you've seen you share a birthday with?
Okay, so I don't know because I don't know any of these guys,
Uh
but in the intro there's this guy that has like I don't know, I don't know how to find a picture of the guy, but he has like like a really short trimmed beard, and I remember having like maybe like a red bandana, and he looks very cool, and I think that's him.
you share your birthday with Karu, the giant duck.
Who's that?
Oh my god!
The duck who they go fishing with.
Oh, oh, like
You got the duck. That's so cool.
it's like from the Final Fantasy games.
Like a chocobo. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
except much better.
Oh, I'm excited now. This is much better.
Oh, wait.
What?
That was November 8th.
Luke,
Uh,
no.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
That's so mean.
another domain.
Yeah, that's a meant.
What about October 8th?
October 8th, you share a birthday with a Marine commander who we haven't come across, another person we haven't come across, and Pierre, who is a magical horse that we will come across.
Now that's something that I do like.
Magic horse. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a horse that has eaten a devil fruit.
Well, okay. I'm
Hell
good.
yeah.
Like, tell me more about him.
Well, I don't want to spoil things for Janine too much. I'll send you a photo after.
Oh, right on. Do you know who else has a birthday on October 8th?
Would that be Connie?
Harvey Baker from comics.
Ah, Harvey Picard.
Yeah.
Nice. I believe I share a birthday with Larry Sanders. I share a birthday with Larry Sanders.
That's weirdly fitting.
We got a bunch of big Larry Sanders heads here in the show tonight. Shout out Larry Sanders. But yes, apple, peaches, pears, plums. Uh, Ace finds Luffy. They briefly catch up. Ace invites the Straw Hats to join Whitebeard, and Luffy turns him down. And they start heading back to the ship, easily disposing of Baroque Works agents along the way. Once they get back to the ship, Ace goes and destroys all the Baroque Works fleet single handedly on his surfboard ship that he has. And as they keep sailing, Ace explains that he is chasing Blackbeard, who he has heard is headed to Yuba, which is where the crew is heading to as well.
Is this Blackbeard the same from Our Flag Means Death?
We
Or
haven't.
the same idea of character, at least?
He is inspired by the actual Edward Teach. His name is Edward Teach, but he goes by Blackbeard in One Piece as well.
Cool. I like
and,
it.
This is going to be a fascinating moment for both of you. In the manga, this is also where Ace just leaves.
Forever?
For quite a while, because he has his own stuff to do.
Okay.
Huh.
Because now I'm going to spoil the rest of the episode, but now he is lost, right?
Yeah, like they do separate him from the group because they're kind of like limited in what they can show that he can do.
Right.
In terms of special moves and that sort of thing. So that's kind of how that happened. It's a fascinating choice because I think Ichiro Oda, who created the series, might have not thought he would be as popular, or was trying to keep things tighter. And so I think when they got to the anime, it's just like, who everyone really loves? It's Ace. We're going to just put more Ace in. And I think they generally do a pretty good job with it.
His name is Ace. Of course it's going to be cool.
He's just like Luffy, but like older and hot. Like,
yeah, like he got the abs.
So elsewhere in the capital, Cobra is doing his best to help his people while he is also worrying about his daughter Vivi. And Vivi sends Karu off to provide what she has dug up about Baroque Works and Crocodile to her father. Nika Robin informs Crocodile about the destructions of the Billions ships and sends out a message to assemble the other agents. The ship lands, and Luffy becomes the leader of the Kung Fu Dugong, who he then leaves to watch the ship by feeding them with some of their limited food supply. And they reach Aramalu, which is now a desert town that has been destroyed by 3 years of drought. Vivi explains that the drought is tied to a conspiracy to frame the king as someone who would use the illegal dance powder in the capital. Dance powder, when burnt, essentially steals clouds from the rest of the country, making it rain wherever you burn it, but it ends up being a drought everywhere else. And that's why the rivers in the country are even drying up now. And that's where we normally just get the explanation of what dance powder is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like having Luffy say, "Oh yeah, I heard about that. I ate some of it." Like it's a good joke, but I'm not necessarily sure it needed the filler to set it up.
I enjoyed it. I'm like, nobody really likes this guy that much. They all seem to be pretty tired of Luffy.
It's very hot in the desert. I can't blame them.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. Like, I'm good with hating on Luffy. Like, boy, that guy is annoying. I'm sorry because probably you guys are all really good, like great fans of Luffy. But I just jump into the show, and there's no way nobody tried to give Ritalin to this guy.
I mean, you'd need to find Pirate Ritalin.
Yeah, Ritalin, something like that. Like there's probably a fruit about it, right?
I mean, we did just get off of the island that had like the best healthcare system in the world, so they could have theoretically found something there. So Vivi and the pirates head off to Yuba to find the rebel leader as the desert weather and dangers get to the crew. Luffy ends up getting most of the crew supplies stolen by a group of desert birds. When he chases after them, he runs into a desert plant that tries to eat him, and he ends up saving Eyelash, the camel that previously saved Chopper. Eyelash joins the party, specifically working as a mount for Nami and Vivi. And then Luffy and Eyelash are chased back to the group by a Sandora dragon, which all the crew defeats. But then another one appears, and Ace defeats that one, and then the crew just eats the giant dragons. And that's kind of our stopping point for now.
Oh yeah.
Because I was a fool and I left an extra episode listed amongst the titles.
Yeah, can
But
I say that that was one of my favorite episodes of the set, like the one that's not on the podcast.
no, I think that's fair.
So if you're a listener, just keep in mind next episode is gonna be like better than this one.
So, Rodrigo, are you going to be interested in like continuing to watch the series or like restart from the beginning?
I will probably start from the beginning. Like I actually enjoy the show. Like I don't hate Luffy. I don't. Very interested in seeing like uh well, I jumped into the show like this is episode what 92,
Mm-hmm.
and I have no clue who any of these guys are. Like there's a lot of things that I do understand a bit because well, each character has like this very well defined like structure and ideas behind. Like the blonde guy that does the cooking, he's really into chicks and he's very mean and he likes to dress nice. Or the green hair guy, he's very serious and gets the shit done, right?
Yeah.
But I
He
like to
all,
know what's up with the misters, what's up with the government, why are there so many pirates, um, do we see Luffy eating the fruit? Who's
yes.
who's the really cool guy from the intro that has like red hair and the scars?
Oh yeah, you get a lot of that pretty quickly. So I'm glad that it hooked you onto the show because I mean that's my goal here to get more people to check out the show.
Oh, his name is Shanks.
Yep.
Who's Shanks?
His name is Red Haired Shanks, and he is the guy who gave Luffy his hat.
Oh, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
he's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Because I was fan casting my friends on the show, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "That's me. I'm that guy. I'm I'm the really cool guy from the intro." So I want to know
Yeah.
more because I want to know who I am.
Well, I mean, coming up in a few weeks, they've got a whole movie that's all about Shanks, which I'm excited for
Oh
it
yeah.
to reach theaters in America. But we have 12 characters to match up. So are we all ready to do this thing?
I am.
Janine, are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? All right, gang. And then I don't want to hit the last note from the opening to Ballroom Blitz because my voice will crack and it will hurt. So up first we have Sir Crocodile. Sir is technically Crocodile's surname. And one of the things that they have for all the seven warlords of the sea is a animal theme to them. We've only seen, I believe, one other member so far, which would be Hawkeye's Mihawk. So for Crocodile, I have Hank Scorpio because Hank Scorpio also ran a conspiracy, also would probably be fine with taking over a country, and that Scorpio fits with that giant hook hand that Crocodile has. Janine, who do you have for Crocodile?
I have Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Interesting. What is your reasoning behind Super Nintendo Chalmers?
I just had to have somebody who would have like some kind of gravitas and respect, like let's say to the nerds, to your Martin Princes, to your
Mhm.
Ralph Wiggums, but then might have like a secret bad side that's only really seen by the pirates who are reviled by society, like your Nelson Munces, like your Bart Simpsons. Not really doing any kind of like shady duality, just living out in open, just as Super Nintendo Chalmers, and just but still having that still kind of like organization, yet some shenanigans are happening that keep on messing things up.
Fair enough.
Skinner.
Uh, Fair enough. Rodrigo, who did you have as your crocodile idea?
Okay, so I gotta start by saying that I thought I had to pick one of the new characters unlocked from the show, like from the
Mhm.
episode that we saw.
That's
Oh,
not,
and
but that
only
is a
cast one
good.
of them?
Oh man, that's not, but that is such like a good thing that you did right there because I never even thought about like doing that as like a limiter, and I might do that next episode now.
It was really hard, but also like I think I picked right. Okay,
Huh?
I am willing to let go some of my picks because
Oh yeah, no, you went like super high level. Like occasionally I'll try and pick characters from the new ones. I am sorry for that confusion.
no, it's okay, it's okay. I actually it was like a thought experiment.
Mhm.
I was with my partner Connie, and we were discussing it, and we had a lot of fun with it too.
So who do you have with that qualifier?
Uh, okay, I'm gonna do two because now that I know that I can pick outside of the episodes. Okay,
Hmm.
so my original choice was Choppy the Lumberjack because you see this big burly guy. He has like a hook on the hand, and Choppy has like I don't know if it was like a chainsaw or like a hatchet or something, but
Oh
for
yeah.
in the first episode because I believe we didn't see much of crocodile on the rest of the episodes that I saw.
Hmm.
um there's this guy, he looks really bad and everyone's like, oh yeah, he's amazing, he's the best, woo, woo, crocodile. So I figured, like, Chubby the Lumberjack, of
Hmm.
course. He's like a mascot, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, mascots are cool." But then he goes and starts like make fucking shit up,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And outside of it, uh, like the one, do you remember that red hair girl that was like a bully to Lisa?
Yes.
Think her name was Francine.
Yep.
Might be wrong, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
that's my like main casting for from the series.
I am double checking because I think we've had Francine. Oh no, we do have the ability to use Francine.
You can not pick mine though. Like that's cool. You're allowed. It's your show. I'm just here, I'm just here to say stuff.
No, I mean that's what the show is. You make your pitches and you pick your battles. I am a hardcore Hank Scorpio is mentally my crocodile casting. And I think I've made my argument. He's got the animal theme, which we did keep for our Hawkeye's Mihawk with Zorro, with uh, Z- Zorro the Fox. And Hank Scorpio runs a secret organization, runs a tight ship, but also he's a chill guy. He's a hero to his employees. So can I convince you all to the side of Hank Scorpio?
But look, I don't know. I've never seen the show. I don't know what comes next. I don't know what came before. But is this guy
Okay.
so important that you want to give Hank Scorpio to him? Because Hank Scorpio is one of the most beloved characters from The Simpsons.
Crocodile is also going to be a major character in One Piece for a while.
Oh, okay. Then I'm convinced.
Yeah, I think I'm convinced for that.
All right. Uh, Up next, we have Poo, who is the leader of some pirates who doesn't really matter. Uh, who did you have for Poo, the captain of the? Oh, his pirates didn't even have a name. Janine, who do you have for Poo?
I have Dr. Marvin Monroe. Um, basically
Oh
because they are
man.
the same shape, relatively, and I think they both share the same fate of being dead.
Harsh. Uh, Rodrigo, who do you have for Poo?
Okay, so my original casting on the list, there's most date on the TV show because we see Poo, he appears and we never see him again. So I'm pretty sure that he's just forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say Marvin Monroe is a perfect casting.
So I had two different options for this. I had Mutant Chief Wiggum from the one where France drops a nuclear bomb on Springfield and Chief Wiggum becomes a mutant. I also had Chris Farley, who was just like, okay, I'll try and throw in Chris Farley somewhere. If neither of those are convincing you, I think it's a waste of Dr. Marvin Monroe, but your two eyes have it.
I mean, I don't know. Do we see Poo again?
No, Poo Poo is like a 1-star character. He would be 0 if it were a
I
ranking
would
that I would give.
argue that Dr. Marvin Monroe is a zero-star character in The
He
Simpsons.
has
Yeah.
he has the same level of importance as Bleeding Comes Murphy.
What?
No,
No way.
He does not provide a character arc. In fact, The Simpsons just stay horrible
Yeah.
after interacting with him.
He does come back from the dead at one point, and then
Whack.
he's just back to life.
But
Yeah.
he doesn't really do anything after that.
No, he mostly just comes on for a few random cameos here and there.
So as
Didn't
far as
he
I
just
know,
he had like a tombstone in one of the opening credits for Treehouse of Horrors, didn't he?
He did die because there's the Dr. Marvin Monroe Memorial Hospital. And then in the kind of fake behind the scenes Simpsons one where they're talking about the making of the Simpsons, but not the reality TV show behind the scenes one, there is the question where it's like two popular Simpsons characters died in the past year. Who were they? And it was Dr. Marvin Monroe and Bleeding Gums Murphy. And then Troy McClure reveals that the answer is, oh, it was a trick question because neither of those characters are popular.
Just like Poo Poo.
I'm fine using Dr. Marvin Monroe and getting to the point where we regret using Marvin Monroe.
Okay, I can't wait till we get there.
We then have Chaka and Pell. Chaka and Pell, we don't have a lot of information about beyond they work for the Royal Guard, and we haven't seen much about them yet. Rodrigo, who did you have for Chaka first? I guess.
Okay, so in the original list, for Chaka, I built Johansen, which is like this guy that's how do you say it when you're like in the mob, but then you talk to the cops and give them information.
Oh, he's a squealer.
Yeah. And for Pale, I also had Brenda, the robot uh, cop, because it seems like one works with the cops, the other one's a cop. I mean, that's basic math, right? And these two seem to be pals, and I didn't see much of them like right here, right now. But if I had to choose now from the whole set of characters, I would probably go for the twins. I don't remember that, like, like the purple girl, the purple.
Oh,
Sherry and
Sherry
Terry.
Yeah.
Terry.
So for Chaka, I had three suggestions, but I'm also coming in from a place of knowing more about them. And mine mostly fit for sets, except for the third one for Chaka. So my Chaka and Pels were McBain and Dexter Scoey, Eddie and Lou from the Simpsons Bible stories, because that way they have the kind of Egyptian theming that Alabasta has. Or my solo one for Chaka was McGriff the Crime Dog. Janine, who do you have?
I was not able to end the day with anything on these two.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will ask, how dare you try to use McGriff? Put that one back in the Uter pile. He's too important for Chaka.
But I know about Chaka's abilities, Janine.
Oh, that scares me. Oh, that scares me. Oh my god. Okay, all
That's
right.
right, he gets a trench coat.
Um,
I feel most good about Eddie and Lou from Simpsons Bible stories because they're guards, they work for the Pharaoh, and it fits thematically.
I think, though, these other characters, this Brenda and Johansson, yeah, I think there's something in those characters. I feel like we have been doing a disservice by not attempting this challenge before, because here we found two characters that can be able to seem to fit the bill from these episodes. Just these small amount of episodes have some kind of analog, because that's how many characters are in The Simpsons. That even the minor characters, like in specific sets of episodes, can be able to find some kind of similarity to something else. And I want to honor that by putting those characters, those choices, on these characters.
Okay. So we're going to go to the fun. Luke tries to maintain some level of order in the game. Janine,
Yes.
I am willing to move Johansson down to Pell if we can get McGriff the crime dog for Chaka.
Oh my god. Ooh, you run a hard bargain, Satan. All right, I'll take your 30 pieces of silver.
All right. And Rodrigo, I assume that is fine with you?
I mean, sure. Like I was really sold on Lou and but
Eddie?
and Eddie, but like in the this is the from when they're making the pyramids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was
In
fine
the
with that.
Moses.
But if you want to put Johansson, I mean, he's Johansson,
You get a
major,
point on the board.
major Simpsons character,
Yes.
major Simpsons character.
Really, I just don't want to burn any of our robots because you never know when One Piece is going to have robots showing up.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's good to save Brenda because she has so many episodes on The Simpsons that
You, you never know when you'll need a cop robot.
she might as well get her own TV show now, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is hard being a single woman who is also a robot and is also a cop, a cab.
Yeah.
So we then have Mr. Two Bon Clay, and I feel like the camp nature kind of just demands that it is John, as played by John Waters. Janine?
I have Franklin, who is no longer the girliest cadet at the military training school that Lisa just joined.
Mm-hmm. And just Franklin?
Just Franklin, really. I mean, like, the character of Franklin was such a vibe because it was just like the meanest thing being pointed out by an adult. Franklin, you're no longer the girliest cadet. And then Franklin fucking, like, full chested, just saying, we'll just see about that. Like, Franklin saying, like, like, biology don't matter. None of that matters. I'm gonna be more woman than this girl. Like, god damn. Like, it was done in, like, a mean spirit, but, like, looking back now, it kind of is camp.
Okay, I hear you. Rodrigo, I'm interested to see who your two picks are.
Okay, so my original pick, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say it next because I think it's already perfect, and I
Mm-hmm.
refuse to give up on it. So I do agree that John Waters should be like Mr. Tubon Clay because
Mm-hmm.
seems like a perfect choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the list from the new characters from these episodes, we have Richard Gere. And I think the idea of having Richard Gere being Mr. Tubon Clay is just perfect because that's what I want to see Richard Gere do.
It would be fun to make our new artist draw that.
Yeah. Originally, I had Mr. Nibel's wife,
Mm-hmm.
but like Richard Gere, he's like an important actor. He's been around.
He would take the role of Mr. Two Bon Clay.
Oh, definitely.
Netflix adaptation. They do the
Need it.
Alabasta arc. They need a Mr. Tubon Clay. I have Richard Gere on the phone. Give me thumbs up, thumbs down. What are you saying?
I'm gonna give you a thumbs up. Like I want to
All
see
right.
Richard Gere being Mr. Tubon Clay.
Oh my god. Luke,
Uh,
it's very convincing, Luke. I don't know what to do.
John Waters, though, would jump on the role. I mean, John Waters is the master of camp and cinema and queer cinema, like depriving John Waters of the role of Mr. Tupon Clay. Janine, you know what he does instead of slapping you across the face? Zap. Zap.
Okay, but Richard Gere.
I mean, at this point, Richard Gere had to have been like in his 50s or 60s when he did the Simpsons cameo. Mr. Tubon Clay is younger than that.
Yeah, but he can switch faces, right? And Richard Gere is an actor.
John Waters is also an actor and a director. Double threat, Mr. Two.
Okay, so a new point then. You know, like English is my second language,
Yes.
so probably my pronunciation of Richard Gere is not the best. But you could also write Richard Girl with an L at the end, and it would kind of fit, right? And you know how they call people that are named Richard?
What?
Like, how do you call like Richards? You call them Dick, right?
Sure.
Yes.
So what's more queer than that?
I mean, Mr. Tubon Clay has the two swans on his back. John Waters directed the film Pink Flamingos.
Look, dude. As far as I know, pink is not the same as white. Okay, I'm willing to concede because this is your show, but every listener knows that Richard Gere is the actual Mr. Clay. And when they make the reboot of this show, I'll get mine. I'll get mine then.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, Mr. Two is another one that I just have strong feelings since the start of the show, along with Hank Scorpio.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate how good of a bit Richard Gere is, but I feel like we would be doing a disservice to John Waters if we did not have John.
I'm sure somewhere in there we got the title of the episode.
We have like 7 good titles for the episode so far. All right. Up next. Oh, do you all know who Mr. Two Bon Clay is based off of in real life?
No.
Are you familiar with a classic movie starring Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey called Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
Mr. Two Bon Clay is based on Jim Carrey's character.
Yeah. No, I say it.
Mm-hmm. Sanji is based off of Steve Buscemi in Reservoir Dogs. Just for Rodrigo. But yes, up next we have Kamanegi, the dance powder man. And Rodrigo, who do you have for Kamanegi?
Okay, from the original list,
Mm-hmm.
Garth Moneylover. He's the bad guy on the Sugar episode. Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't Moneylover, Mother Lover.
Mother loving.
Yeah, that guy. And he wants the money, and this guy, he wanted the money too.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But if we're opening up to the rest of the series, maybe you had this guy already. But Chester J. Lampwick,
Yeah.
original creator of Itchy and Scratchy. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, I don't think we've used Chester yet.
He looks very grumpy.
Oh, we have used him.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, we used him for a character who literally just appears in a background and won't become important for several hundred more episodes. One Piece.
Okay. Can we have Richard Gere become this guy then?
I'm willing to let you toss Richard Gere down as well. The suggestion that I had was on the episode Marge on the Lamb, I believe it is, where like Marge and Ruth Powers go driving. There's a scene where Marge and Ruth are like shooting the gun at cans, and then the old guy comes out and's like, "My antique cans." Uh, can owner was my suggestion. My dance powder bags.
Yeah, I can see that.
Janine, who do you have?
I have Mo. Basically, any version of him would work. This guy has very large Mo energy. He's doing something illegal. He's threatening somebody with a knife. He's cowering. And he's immediately becoming irrelevant like 20 seconds later after you're done looking at him.
That is so mean to Mo. Are you sure you do not mean Moe?
I'm. Oh my god.
I'm. I would be more than willing to use Richard Gere here to follow our theme of mostly just putting celebrities into very random parts.
Sure, let's go ahead and throw Richard Gere in the middle of a desert.
Oh yeah.
Richard Gere gets what he deserves.
Now this is an episode.
Role of a lifetime, baby.
We then have Matsuge, aka Eyelash, the horny camel. And I have 3 suggestions for Eyelash. So there is Joe Camel, famous spokes camel, aka Smokes Camel. Humphrey, the talking camel, who was the main attraction at the zoo after Hitler's car was destroyed, or Homer's fantasy camel from when he and Ned are trying to save the kids, and then instead Homer has a weird harem dream because he's getting high on car fumes. Janine, who do you have?
Curveball, menthol moose.
Okay, well, I am assuming that's the only one that you had for.
I also put down Disco Stew. This camel has a very Disco Stew vibe.
You're not wrong. I am looking forward to, I think in a few episodes we'll finally get access to the island of Dr. Hibbert where you get all the animal versions of characters, because that's going to open up some beautiful nightmares. Rodrigo, please delight me with.
Okay, so hear me out. Ball
Off to a great
racer.
start.
But not as Paul Racer, like Paul Racer as a camel. Like camel body,
And the
camel
Paul
neck,
Reiser face.
but with a Paul Racer face.
Yeah. Apple bottom boots or apple bottom jeans, camel face, or camel body Paul Reiser face.
Yeah.
You got them long legs looking at her. They hit the flow. There are 4 more. Actually, that doesn't make sense because that'd make it seem like he has 5. Anyways, yeah.
Paul Racer.
Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
Paul Reiser.
All right.
Paul Reiser. Oh. And did he also have a second one?
No, not really. Like I think Paul Racer is perfect.
Huh?
Like look at the face of the guy.
He's
like a grumpy Paul Racer. Like it works perfectly.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. I have to.
I do get some like Discos 2 vibes from the guy. But
I
but I only see him like a couple of times of eyelash, you know?
yeah, I'm I'm good with Paul Reiser.
Yes.
As weird as it sounds,
Yes.
Janine, are you good with Paul Reiser?
Oh my god, I'm looking at him now.
This show is going off the rails.
You know what? The hair didn't help.
And those jowls are very camely.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yes. Rodrigo, I don't know how you've done it, but you found a way to really win at this game.
Yeah, I think you
Oh
have
wow.
now. I think you have got the most successful suggestions at this point. So, wow. Up next, we have Koza, who we haven't gotten a lot from yet. But I feel like he's got glasses, he's got a scar, he has a cool energy to him. Rodrigo, I gotta know who do you have for Koza?
Ralph Nader. Look, I was running out of characters. I don't know this guy. He just showed up like for a minute there. We didn't see him later at all. And I'm like, you know what's really unknown to me?
who Ralph Nader is?
Well, politicians and activists from the United States, like from 10 years ago or 20, like, I don't know. I don't know who Ralph Nader is, but he seems like a Ralph Nader.
Oh,
Like, I have zero context on who Ralph Nader is, but like, I had to pick one.
so Ralph Nader basically led a push for basically improving cars that the United States were publishing or that the United States was producing because they were really dangerous for quite a while. And he also set up a lot of like public watchdog groups and advocacy groups. And he also ran a unsuccessful campaign in the year 2000 where he was commonly derided as a person who stole a lot of votes from Al Gore,
Oh,
which solely because he was the more socialist politician in a lot of ways,
oh, so he's a good guy.
which ironically works because Al Gore is our Cobra Nefertari.
Oh my god.
Uh, do you have
Oh,
a
Did I win again? Did I win the
do you
game?
have a second unbound suggestion for Koza beyond Ralph Nader?
Not really. Like, I saw this guy for like 5 seconds, and I'm like, yeah, that he's a Ralph. There's probably like an actor type because he kind of looks like that classic Hollywood type of actor. But to be fair, I don't really know.
Janine, who do you have?
I was actually thinking classic Hollywood actor and did Troy McClure.
Oh, that's perfect.
All right, I have three suggestions, and I'll go from weakest to best. I have the hippie bus driver, who's the guy who always shows up when Mona Simpson needs a ride to get away from the police at the end of her episodes. Adil Hoxha, who is the Albanian foreign exchange student slash spy who replaces Bart when Bart goes to France. and Jesse Grass, the environmental eco-terrorist who is also a level 5 vegan, if I remember, which means he won't eat anything that casts a shadow, which I think qualifies for the hunk, rebel, and he also ends up in jail for disobeying the government.
Those are really good. Like
Thank you.
Adil also has this line about the woes of capitalism,
Mm-hmm.
and you say that the guy was like socialist, Ralph Nader, and it matches with Kosa. But yeah, like the vegan, yeah, he's very cute. So I'm willing to
I,
give it to this guy. Like I don't know, but he's cute.
I feel like Troy McClure is like too old, and same with Ralph Nate.
I am not unconvinced about Ralph Nader so that we could be able to reunite him with Al Gore. I kind of don't want to separate them now.
There will be other opportunities for
The-
Ralph Nader. We will keep Ralph Nader in our hearts, Janine.
And in the Ooter pile.
Yes. So are we good with Jesse Grass?
God, that's a question. Yeah, if we're gonna Ooter pile Ralph Nader, which I never expected that I would be so bummed about not having to use. Um, yeah, Jesse Grass.
All right.
So who is Kosa, by the way? Like I have no
Oh,
knowledge of this guy. What's his deal?
Koza is the leader of the rebels, the rebel army.
Oh,
He is a person Vivi is going to try and find.
oh, okay. Yeah, that works with blonde guy, super vegan.
All right. Well, it is time to go and figure out Ace, and
Pere, 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 pere. Pere, 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 pere.
our friends on Twitter have some suggestions for us. We are going to run through these first because I appreciate everybody who goes and sends us messages. Thank you, everybody who has sent in suggestions. Up first, Sandro for Ace, Luffy's brother. He sent in Lenny, just classic Lenny. Olin sent in Groundskeeper Willie from Treehouse of Horror 6. That's the one where he is a Freddy Krueger style nightmare monster. Artist for the new covers, Mike P. suggested Mo. And Marcelo suggested Tom, Bart's brother from Another Planet. Janine, I have bad news for you.
What's that?
It's my suggestion. Because you know who looks like an older version of Bart
Who?
and has bad boy energy and freckles?
Who?
He was Doogie Howser.
Oh my god.
We're never free of TV's Doogie Howser, Janine. TV's Doogie Howser will always haunt us. That's my suggestion for Ace. Janine, who do you have?
I have the two people that Bart looks up to, as Bart is kind of our Luffy in this. And that is Otto, the bus driver,
Mm-hmm.
and Krusty the Clown.
Janine, I'm sorry. We already used Otto.
Have we?
Yes. You and Jeff demanded that he take the role of Mashikaku back in episode 9. He is a mostly nameless supporter of Smoker and Tashigi.
Oh yeah, we were geniuses.
Yeah,
Looks like I'm gonna really push hard for Krusty then, huh?
I mean, we do have who I think would be a good Krusty mentioned in this episode, but not appearing. Rodrigo, please take us to the wonderful land of your suggestions.
Okay, so original list, I was like, this guy shows up, he helps everyone, he seems to have some fiery power, which is helpful in the world of pirates.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like this list, and so I picked Gabriel.
There, the social worker who is trying to get his wings, by which he means the Wings Greatest Hits album.
Yes, because he arrives and he helps, and he has some kind of crazy power, which is the power of therapy, which is one of the
Mhm.
greatest powers in the world
Unfortunately, there is no therapy fruit so far.
so far, right? It's still going on, but then yeah, you said that we can pick from everyone. So I figure I see this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He has this very long shorts. He has this necklace and the thing hanging out, and he's very topless and he's very muscular, and he has like this kind of like like I'm a bad guy but I'm a good guy face, you know
Mm-hmm.
and he has like this crazy hat. So I was like, you know what this guy probably listens to? Do you remember that band? What was it? Crazy Town,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
This guy definitely likes Crazy Town. He's probably an extra on the butterfly video. So I'm looking like who's probably like similar to that. Kid Rock. Kid Rock, but from The Simpsons, but Kid Rock.
I mean, Kid Rock was on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh my god, could we use Kid Rock?
Kid Rock is like actually a bad person. He would unironically get the swastika on his back.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
definitely.
man, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I was
like
caught up in the aesthetics of 2001. I forgot.
But is there any other Simpsons character with the same aesthetic?
uh maybe one of the ones from the Simpsons episode where they go and spend the summer and Lisa tries to pretend to be a cool kid.
Oh.
No, but those guys were more grungy.
There. Uh
It's like you wouldn't put like Billy Corgan as Ace.
Yeah.
Maybe
You
the guy from
could,
the
but
record
like
shop.
yeah, maybe.
You know that
Hmm.
guy from the record shop when they do the not Lollapalooza?
mm-hmm. Hullabalooza.
Yeah. I don't remember the name. I don't think he had one, but you know.
I believe the Simpsons wiki is being, or Google's being unhelpful. That is the Suicide Notes clerk.
That's a long name.
I mean, it's not an actual name, but it's uh,
What do you mean
no,
it's not a name? Sue.
no, Suicide Notes.
Yeah,
Like the store is called Suicide Notes.
Sue.
Uh,
Like
okay,
I'm willing to concede. I believe that Kid Rock probably could play the part, but he's the fucking worst. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm
like
willing to be like, you can pick Gabriel.
Okay. I think that Tom being like the Air Force pilot who also brings in like neuro destabilizers and who will get into fights with Homer at an aquarium if he thinks that he's being mean to Bart. I think that fits Ace or it is doing a Hauser.
I'm not gonna use TV's Doogie Howser on Ace.
Is Stevie Stoogie Hauser in your Hooter pile?
I mean, it's gotta have to be. I mean, like, Ace looks like somebody who's, fucked. TV's Doogie Howser is a closeted homosexual.
I mean, you're not wrong. Uh, okay. How do you feel about Tom
Um, from MySpace?
from brother from another planet where he becomes Bart's big brother,
Oh, yeah.
voiced by Phil Hartman?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do love a Phil Hartman character.
Yeah.
He's also caring and a responsible adult.
And
Hmm.
we don't see
That's
him much
actually
anymore.
that's a step back, though. The responsible adult, because Ace is not responsible.
Ace offers to help Sanji in the kitchen and is told not to because he is a guest.
Hmm.
He also fell asleep in noodles.
Narcolepsy doesn't mean you're unresponsible.
Hmm. What
Oh,
about Pucci?
I could tell you why not Bucci.
Poochie is Chopper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know
That
that other Simpsons family member from that show?
oh Roy.
Yeah. You know Human Pucci.
Yeah, we could use Roy.
Roy.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to remind me about Roy.
Roy is literally the human version of Poochie who pretty much just shows up to make a joke about him being the Poochie for The Simpsons. He leaves at the end of the episode to move in with two sexy ladies.
Oh my god. Hell yeah.
Uh, you know what? I feel like we're going with Roy then.
Yes. Another point for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that, Rodrigo. All right. We have three more. None of them really matter. So let's hopefully knock these out quickly. First, we have Yoskimoto, who is the restaurant owner. I had Kabuli Man 1 from Two Guys from Kabul. Janine, who do you have?
Luigi Risotto.
And Rodrigo.
So originally I had to pick between, and I was running out of characters, as I said
Oh, yeah.
before. And this guy is just, just a cook. He's a chef. I was like, okay, so who can he be? And I was like, I didn't have that many choices. I picked Clip Club, who's actually Milhouse and Ralph in disguise.
As a horse for Lisa.
Yeah, but he's a chef. There's chefs on The Simpsons. There's I was recently rewatching the series
Mm-hmm.
with Connie, and we were watching the episode where Homer eats fugu, and there's a
Yes.
sushi chef there.
We have, I believe we've actually used the sushi
Oh,
chef.
oh no! Oh no.
We have used the master sushi chef, and I want to say that we used the assistant, but I feel like that might be one where he's come up a few times.
Yeah,
And
I remember Toshido, right?
yes, I was trying to remember Toshiro's name. We have also used Toshiro.
Bummer.
Yeah, there's not as many chefs as you'd kind of think
And
in
you don't
this
want to
episode.
waste the Italian chef, right?
Yeah, that's Luigi Risotto.
Oh yeah. Then I'm good with that one.
Well, we've used Toshiro already, and I, I mean, Luigi is too big of a character to throw away for.
Oh no, you don't give me that.
Luigi has a name. He recurs multiple times.
This guy has a
He
name
Because
too.
he comes by for the same joke, and it's not a very good one.
that he's Italian?
Yes.
Do you think that being Italian is a joke, Janine?
Oh no.
Listen, just this Wednesday, just yesterday on
Uh-huh.
television, there was a wrestler whose name is Luigi Primo. His gimmick is that he make the pizza.
Uh-huh.
And he was there on television doing that same thing because it was a joke. Also, he's an anti-vaxxer, apparently.
Mamma mia. I,
I don't know.
it, if I tell you that we're going to get a stereotypical Italian man in One Piece, you would not be surprised.
I would be tired.
Yes. Uh, I I think we will have a better use for Luigi, especially considering this is a like sort of Middle Eastern style of restaurant. I'm sticking with my suggestion for Kabuli Man One.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
When Laura Powers babysits Bart, she orders from the restaurant two guys from Kabul, which is a restaurant that is not very popular because they were ordering an ethnic food in the early 90s, and the joke is that the two guys who run the restaurant just yell at each other all the time until they get a customer in.
Oh, okay. So I have a suggestion.
Uh-huh.
This is not something that I really remember,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a chef in The Simpsons
Mm-hmm.
that works at Rancho Relaxo.
Luke, can
I
you
know
say
Luke is
no?
looking up for it right now.
Cause he's a relaxo.
I am part of the Rancho Relaxo forum. Um, that do you want to know what his name is, Rodrigo?
Yeah, like no, I know what was his name.
And what is his name?
So his name is Rodrigo. So I think I should leave my mark on this show in a way that actually matters. So I want this guy to be the chef.
I'm good with that,
Oh my god.
Janine.
You have no idea how many times Luke have asked me if I'm relaxo. Um yes, Rodrigo it is.
I appreciate you, Rodrigo, finding a chef that we have not used.
Yes.
All right,
Will we
we
see
then
this
have
guy again?
what?
Does the chef make another appearance, or do we forget him forever?
Oh, he never appears again.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we then have Mr. Mello and Geronimo. I have mine paired up. So one of them that I have is David Spade and Chris Farley. just going back to that well, I also have Chuck Tamzarian and Al Sneed. They are the farmers who are outside of Sneed's Weed and Feed, and
Great
the
job.
rival farmers in the tobacco episode. Janine, who do you have?
I have Disco Stew and Senor Spearbergo.
And Rodrigo.
So for Mr. Mellow, originally I had diabetic
Uh huh.
because diabetic fat. I didn't want to typecast because you know that sucks.
There. Mhm.
And for Geronimo, I had Mr. Nibel's wife. But to be fair, I was like, who the fuck are these randos? I don't know any of these guys, and this they didn't do much. So
I mean, Mr. Mello's shirt in the past when he was moving the dance pattern said half melon, and then when he was back in the present, it said full melon.
huh. I like the
Yeah.
hat,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we can do better.
Uh, do you have alternate suggestions for the two of them?
So no, not really.
Okay. Uh, I mean, David Spade and Chris Farley, we can just put that in there, call it a day, and go and get drinks.
Yeah, it kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Janine,
say yes only because
you
I
don't
love
give a shit
it when
about
we
them.
use when we use like celebrities for bit
It,
roles.
it's just like when South Park was good before they actually became a political force. Yes, we'll have George Clooney voice the dog. All right, so that means we have gotten to the end of the list.
Woo.
Uh, Going over, we have Hank Scorpio is Crocodile, Dr. Marvin Monroe is Poo Poo, McGriff the Crime Dog is Chaka, Johansson is Pell, John is Mr. Tupon Clay, Richard Gere is Kamnigi, Paul Reiser is Matsuge, Jesse Grass is Koza, Roy is Ace, Rodrigo, the Simpsons chef,
Not
is
me.
Yoshikamoto, David Spade is Mr. Mello, and Chris Farley is Geronimo. Uh, yeah, this was a action-packed episode full of discussions. Rodrigo, where can people find you online if they want to check out your work?
Oh, I'm on Instagram at. This is gonna be hard, but it's Eterna Dinociencia. I probably should change that. And on Twitter, I'm at Rodrigo Makes Art. Also, my website, rodrigomakescomics.com. And you can read my webcomic, walkingtodo.com, with Connie, my partner.
And Janine, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Janine Juliet and in various Luke Hare podcast productions.
And you can find me on Twitter at Coltreg. That's KOLTREG. I also have a Patreon where you can chip in some money to help pay for things like the cover art that we have done by Mike P, who I've really enjoyed his first cover so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does for this next cover. You can find Mike P at Patten Pending, Patten pending.org. DohMance Dawn updates every other week. Typically, we'll be back in 2 more weeks with our next episode. And yeah, check out our website, which is a Tumblr at dohmancedon.com, or follow us on Twitter, which is at dohmance. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review. Also, let us know that you have left a review. That way we know what to look for, because like iTunes has all the regional matching and stuff. Next episode, Luffy does some mescaline, the desert is full of fillers, and we hit our 100th episode of One Piece.
And
See
this
you then. No, we'll leave you on the 16th. See you then. Safe sailing.
podcast.